bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small.
Greetings, Glitter Gang. Happy Thursday. It's 2 o'clock on Thursday, October 7th. And you are here for Kathryn Scraps Live. I'm Kathryn, and today I'm going to be scrapping live in the advanced version of my Quick and Easy Fold Pocket album. I have done a not advanced version of it. It is quick and easy. Other people have done it and confirmed that as well. So it's not, it's not always like this. One of the things that we were doing with the album was to show that with the same album basics guide, you could make a very quick and easy album, and you can make a very complicated advanced display album from the same guide. That's why the guides are the way that the guides are. So, okay, there you go. So album basis guide is linked in the video description if you want to check it out. All videos of me decorating the album will be included with that album basis guide. Also below, links to the tools I use on Amazon, the membership to get all past live shows, the supplies I'm using. I'm using Simple Stories Heart, as well as the cardstock that I use. So everything is linked down below for you. So there you go. Hi, happy Thursday, everyone. I'm glad you're able to join me. I stream every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern USA time and 9 p.m. Eastern USA time pretty much every week, with the exception of, you know, there's something going on. There's something going on. So let's see. All right, so last announcement before we get going is that voting what happened this weekend on what is going to be the book club book for October. And that happened in the Kathryn Scraps Facebook group, which is also linked below in the video description. Or if you're watching on the recording, it's kathrynscraps.com/groups/Kathryn's Scrappers. So, all right. On October 28th, we'll be discussing this book during the shows. This book is a thriller, so spoilers are going to be given. We'll have a spoiler discussion just to let you know that, you know, when the book is a thriller, it's very difficult to discuss it in a non-spoilery way. So if you have any intention of reading this book at all, be sure to watch it before then. Or watch it. Read it. I mean, what's the difference between reading and watching, really, on a philosophical level? All right. So yeah, on October 28th is when we'll be discussing those. So you have 1, 2, 3 weeks to read it. Kind of short this month because September had 5 Fridays, or 5 Thursdays. So it's a little bit tighter this month, but I don't think it's a long book. So hopefully you'll have plenty of time. Also, just to let you know that the audiobook for this book is an Audible exclusive, so you must have Audible in order to read the book via audio. I'm gonna just like make a note to myself to just check in the future that I don't choose books for you to vote on where that is the case. Because my goal is always for you to be able to get the book in whichever format you prefer from your library, barring just any choices your library has made. So in a case where the book's audio is Audible exclusive, no matter what choices your library makes, you can't get it at your library. So I'll just watch for that in the future. Try to avoid it. So yes, there is an audiobook available, but you know, the reason they don't have it at your library is because it's an Audible exclusive, like I said. So you can't even, request that your library get it for you or whatever. So the options are limited. So sorry about that, but like I said, lesson learned. In the future, I will try to avoid that because I know there are several people in the group who really enjoy reading via audiobook. Okay. And then so that you can put the December books on hold at your library, and it's the November December books. It's the November December books. So we're not doing a book club in November. We're going, just because October is kind of short, and because there's only October is still 31 days, but in terms of like class time, we're a little short. And then November will be even shorter because we have Thanksgiving. So we'd only have 3 weeks to read the November book. Really, it's like 3.5. It's not even 3 full weeks. So what we're going to do is, instead of doing in November, we're going to do one on, what did we decide? December 16th? So we're going to do one on December 16th. Or did I say 9th? Does anyone remember? Let's do the 16th. That's fine. We're going to do the November-December book club on December 16th. So that's what we're going to do. And so the theme is holiday romances. So hopefully we'll just have something light and fun to finish up the year. And let me just pull up what those are because I don't remember off the top of my head. So we've got In a Holidays by Christina Lauren, which this one, my understanding is it's like Groundhog Day, time loop, something like that. We have Royal Holiday by Jasmine Guillory, and you may see when you look this book up that it's the 4th in a series. It's an anthology series. My understanding is that it does not matter that it's 4th in the series, that we can read it at any point. And then the third book is This Time Next Year by Sophie Cousins, and that's Cousins with an E, not an I. So just when you're searching, make sure you get that spelling. And all right, that's all the announcements. So let's say hello to everyone. So we have Sandra was the first to chat. She beat me. So hello to Sandra. Hello to Jill. To Innie Capini, hello, how are you? I hope you're all having a wonderful day, or if you're overseas and you're at the end of your day, I hope you had a wonderful day. Hello to Bev and to Carol Joan. Welcome to all of you. Catherine, hi, happy Thursday. Melanie, hello, hooray. Deb, hello, hi, how are you? Raydell, good afternoon to you. Barbara Jean, how are you? Hope you're doing well. And then Gretchen says, I didn't know there were Audible exclusive books. Well, now you know. Now you know. So I was aware that there are Audible exclusive books. Essentially, I was aware of that because I had watched a video on how audiobooks are made. Or recorded or whatever, what the process is behind that, and the particular audiobook author or reader or performer, narrator, whatever, that they were following worked exclusively for Audible on Audible exclusives. And they mentioned in the video that it takes a tremendous amount of resources and time to record an audiobook for like a publisher to do it, and a lot of times publishers actually just sell the rights to the audiobooks to audiobook companies, and then the audiobook companies take care of that. And that is something that Audible, which is Amazon, is now doing, where there are an audiobook publisher and they are buying the rights to audiobooks. The difference between when Amazon does it and when everyone else does it is that Amazon will not put it in your local library, whereas all the other companies that do it will put it in your local library, or at least your library has a chance to get it, order it, whatever. But of course, because Jeff Bezos always has to be the worst, they do not put theirs in audiobooks. So when Amazon does the audiobook, gets the rights for the audiobook, they make them Audible exclusives, and that's the only way you can listen. So if you've never signed up for an Audible free trial, you can get this one. Just sign up for their free trial and, you know, do it that way. If you've already used your Audible free trial, then, you know, then you either have to buy it, sign up for Audible again, or just read it with your eyes and not your ears. So there you go. So now that's something hopeful and uplifting and wonderful about the world that you've learned. All right, let's together when we twist this cross piece off them. That enables us to open them all into their separate albums. Okay, so, oh, it's so pretty already. All right, so this is page style A, the first layer. All right, and then the next layer is page style B here and page style C here. And then the next layer, which is where we left off, is page tile A here, which is the quilt that we made in our classes. And where we had left off with this is essentially that we had made the quilt, but we had not made any of the tags to go in the quilt. So, and we hadn't decided on what pattern paper we were going to use on the tags. So, the one thing I don't want to do is use this pattern of paper, because I feel like at that point we're committed to only using that pattern of paper for all the tags that are showing. And I don't want to do that. So, but I do want it, I think I want it to be yellow, which means we would have to use the floral pattern from the quilt, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. Because I think those are the only two like strictly yellow patterns in the collection. So I'm going to get my little scrap bag here. And right off the bat, I see that I do have a pretty decent sized chunk of the yellow floral that I can use. And then I have this, but I don't, which is left over from making the quilt. However, I don't have any yellow pieces on there big enough to use. Oh, here's another yellow piece that that's big enough to use. All right, let's start there. And if I have to print another sheet, I have to print another sheet. Hopefully I won't have to print another sheet. All right. So we need to make 8 tags. So I'm just gonna move the book. Blurp. All right, get over there, book. Okay, now the book is half on and half off a shelf. So the law of cats would indicate that at some point a cat is going to try and jump onto that, and they will use the book and it'll come crashing down. So we will find out today how solid the construction is. All right, so what I say, 8 tags. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 tags means 16 photo mats. So I have I have 16 photo mats right here. All right, so these are photo mats that I partially started taping, so I'll just finish taping them. We'll get that done. And then we'll start working on the tags. So it's October. It's officially fall. So for all you pumpkin spice fans out there, 'tis the season. I don't have a particularly strong pumpkin spice feelings. I'm neither pro pumpkin spice, like I don't seek out pumpkin spice. I don't get pumpkin spice lattes, whatever. But I also am not enraged by the existence of pumpkin spice everything. You know, like pumpkin spice nuts or pumpkin spice toothpaste or pumpkin spice makeup palettes. My sister has a t-shirt that says pumpkin spice on it. Pumpkin spice something. Cooler weather coming. Yeah, I mean, I hope so. Like, I'm not, this is tough because I have, I'm not over like, I'd be happy to get a couple more weekends in the pool, you know what I mean? But I'm also, it doesn't need to be hot all the time. So, I'm torn. And I wouldn't be torn if I had a pool heater. So, that's just this is part of my lifestyle creep is that, it's like before I had a personal pool, I wouldn't have told you I needed a personal pool to live my life. Of course, now I do think that's something that I need. And now, like, it sprawls, right? And it's like, well, not only do I want a pool, but I want a heated pool now. Because, I might want to go in the pool in December and I won't be able to. So, and it's like, yeah, that's not actually like that's not the end of the world. Plus you would be able to, if you like went to a Y or something like that, you could go to an indoor pool. So, but that's just like what happens to your brain, man. It's just what happens to your brain. Yeah, I could take the polar bear plunge. And I'm sure if I got a heated pool, then there would be some associated lifestyle creep. Like, I'd want, some way to, like, get out of the pool without freezing. Like, I'd have to have, like, some kind of heated towel rack or maybe, like, some kind of covered walkway to my bedroom. Like, it's on and on. It's on and on. No one's never satisfied. Right? Never satisfied. Like the real happy, like the way to be happy would be for me to just be grateful that I have a pool I can use whenever I want for about 6 months out of the year, right? That would be like the gracious way. But the body wants what the body wants, Bev says. Yeah, Mary says it's like the Kathryn version of give a mouse a cookie. Just give Kathryn a pool. Exactly. So, it's funny that we're talking about the polar bear plunge because I was trying to think of what to do for the January book club. And I was thinking about reading something Russian. Or reading something set in the U.S. states. So we had done that book that was set in Georgia, and one of the suggestions was, we could do that with the other 50 states. Now it's going to take time. Even if we did it every month, it would take 4 years. So I don't really know that I think we need to just do it, but I think every once in a while maybe I'll throw a state in there. And I was thinking about throwing Alaska in there because I have already 2 Alaska books. We could read Master and Margarita. That book is a loser from another month. I was also thinking of maybe like a Chekhov short story collection, or even a play. Because the Russians can be like, it's a time commitment. They're not known for their brevity, So I was thinking maybe that would be the way to go. But we could do Master and Margarita, or if we did Alaska, we have The Snow Child, which is a 2-time loser. Although maybe we learned our lesson with books that didn't get votes, which is that there's a reason they didn't get votes. But the thing is, the people who read The Snow Child said it was good, so I don't know. So we have The Snow Child, and then we have The Great Alone, which is one of the books that didn't win this month. And then for the Russians, we have the Master and Margarita, which didn't win in the month where we did books with cats on the cover, because I guess no one wanted to read a book where the cat was the devil. But You know, it's a classic. It's a classic. So, I don't know. If you have strong thoughts about Russia versus Alaska, let me know. But for Russia, I was also thinking Crime and Punishment, because that's like, I think one of the shorter, kind of just overall more accessible of Dostoevsky's novels. So we could do Master and Margarita, Crime and Punishment, and then maybe like I'll throw in some Chekhov short stories or something. So that, but like, you know, I have faith in our ability to read a Russian novel. So we can do it. We can do it. We can do it, everyone. Might as well do War and Peace. I don't think we'll do War and Peace. War and Peace, like, Tolstoy has more accessible novels, and he is just really into like talking about farmers in a way that I don't need as much time spent on as, look, okay, he's not my favorite Russian, all right? He's not. Tolstoy's not. I've never read War and Peace. I probably will at some point do it just so I can say, okay, I read it. But like, even in, what's that sexy one with the train? Anna Karenina, there's like a whole digression about farming. So, and it's like, shut up, no one cares. Of course, obviously Tolstoy cares. Probably other people do care, but I was just like, I don't care. I don't care. I realized when I said what's the sexy one with the train that could also have been Dr. Zhivago. Not that Tolstoy didn't write that, but oh, you know what we could do? We could read Dr. Zhivago, and then there's a really interesting book about the making of either the writing of or the smuggling of Dr. Zhivago out of the Soviet Union, something. There was like a whole spy angle involved with the book and the movie or the movie. I don't know, something. A friend of mine, their book club, read it, and she highly recommended it. So we could read Dr. Zhivago and then read whatever the book about Dr. Zhivago is. But then we would just have to decide that's what we're doing. There wouldn't be any voting. And of course, you guys know that democracy is really important to me. So, like, I wouldn't want to take that away. Crime and Punishment is great. I know that it doesn't like, I don't know. It's very, that's the book that I read, and I was like, these Russian cats are interesting. Let me read some more. And then read literally everything Dostoevsky ever wrote. So, you know, and I also love Chekhov. And I remember once, and since then I've seen a couple, but I remember Dr. Zhivago would be good for Valentine's Day. Interesting. Okay, so we need to do our pieces. So Tolstoy, yeah, Tolstoy is interesting. He just loves tractors too much, okay? Like, he just needs, like, he has a thing with tractors that I can't follow him on. I can't follow him on the tractor thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this piece to 4 1/4. I'm going to start there. And then, because I need to remember that I need to kind of do it sideways, because, like, to me, this looks up and down for this piece of paper. This looks right side up versus this. But I want to do it cut it here where it's like the wrong way, so that when they're turned on their sides in the book, they're the right way. And of course, there's not really a right side and a wrong side with this paper. It's just what looks right to you. But yeah, I really slowed down when I hit Tolstoy because of the farming thing. But those are just the big ones. There's tons of Russians. I'm not reading any Solzhenitsyn, though. Like, no thanks. No thanks. So. Because really, like, the philosophy and what they were writing about, the ones from the 19th century, is like a peak. So, you don't like eyeballs too? So, one day in the life of Ivan Denisovich, I tried to read on a plane on a nonstop flight from JFK to Athens, which was like a super long flight. I want to say it was like 10, 13 hours, something like that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to read this book. And every time I tried to read it, I would fall asleep. It was so boring. The point is that it's boring. Like, it's boring on purpose, okay? So, and so that was the only book I had on the flight. And it was torture. So, yeah. So, like, I have, like, a real, me and Solzhenitsyn, like, I don't know. I had a bad experience. I'll just leave it there. I mean, he wanted me to have a bad experience. So, like, I had the experience that he wanted me to have. So, like, but sometimes as a writer, you could be too effective in getting your point across. I'll just say that. Okay. So I'm going to flip this upside down just so that the slippery backing on the tape doesn't make it too hard for me to... it'll just slide around on my mat. So I'm going to cut this off. I'm going to just do like about 1 1/4 inches. I actually don't know what I really need to be doing, but I'm going to do 1 1/4 inches. I'm going to flip it around to the other side that I taped and do 1 1/4 inches again. And I need to end up with 16 of these, so. All right, and then this one I can get one more off. What about modern Russian authors? You know, I have to admit I don't know what's going on over there in terms of what they're doing these days. I do know, I mean, we could read, I don't know that she's Russian, but what's the one, is it Olga Kurylenko who wrote the book about, this is actually just it won a bunch of international awards. Let me think. It's like something about bodies. I don't know. Olga Kurylenko is the actress. Okay, so now the question is, what's the book about? Let's go. Eastern European book. Oh, Farming and Bones? Question mark? Okay, so there's actually a book called The Farming of Bones. Is that the book nope, that's not the book I'm trying to get. Okay. International Booker winners. Did it win that? Is that why yeah, okay, fine. Oh my gosh. Maybe I'm thinking of In Memory of Memory by Maria Stepanova. I don't think I am, though. All right, I'm not going to find it right now, but Keep It Sweet with Lolita, one of the most misunderstood books ever. So, okay. Yeah, I mean, I've tried to do, you know, my reading leans towards contemporary. So for me, it's a matter of I have to like go back to the classics every once in a while. I don't know. We'll think about it. We'll think about it. We'll probably just end up reading some Alaska books because like the hardest thing for me is well, I thought I would try to fit in classics. So that's what I thought, because we've pretty much only read contemporary books. So in book club, and we talked about fitting in some classics, and we did put Master and Margarita in a voting pool once, but then we just didn't. Now we could do what a friend of mine, her book club, what they did is they made a list of all the books in Reading Lolita and Tehran, and I think they read them all, and then they would read the part of the Reading Lolita and Tehran that referenced that book. So they kind of read whatever the classic was and then part of Reading Lolita and Tehran 1 month, or either that or they read Reading Lolita and Tehran at the end. But the thing that I thought was so funny is that they did take a vote as a book club and voted not to read Lolita. So that was the only book from the book that they didn't read. And I was like, but that's the one in the title. What? All right, so do I have enough left? Ooh, this is 4 1/4. Okay. So I have enough of the scrap if I turn it the other way, and I'll just have to deal with the fact that they're going in all different directions. It's probably fine. Now I've already read Lolita, so Lolita, which I believe is the first book Nabokov wrote in English, or he did his own translation, and that's why the English is not like, the English is not as funny apparently as the French. The book, I believe, was, or something, or yeah, there's something about it, that something to do with the translation I remember reading, where other versions of it are funnier than the English one, allegedly. Maybe he did the translation himself. Because he wrote most of his stuff, I believe, in French, I want to say. Because weren't they were, or maybe they were published in a Russian magazine in France. And maybe he wrote them in Russian and did his own French translations. I don't remember, but he was totally fluent in French in addition to Russian. He lived in France, or for at least a good chunk of his time as a writer. All right, so But yeah, that's a big project. I don't know that we're gonna, I don't even know what maybe, let me look at the list of books. At some point we can figure it out. Okay. All right, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we'll do, I'm gonna cut another 4 1/4 inch strip. Remember, I need to end up with 16 of these. So we'll figure it out. I do have a personal goal to read a book from every country, whether in translation, obviously. And there's a few countries I've read already, but I was like looking, trying to look up books from the different African countries, and I found a chart of that was the most popular book from every country, and they had, it was a map, and you could zoom in on the continent and then click on the countries. The one that like really surprised me was for South Africa. They had The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings. I don't remember which one. And I guess that's because Tolkien, is South African. But did he live in South Africa when he wrote them? Did he publish them out of South Africa? Why do I always think of those as British books, is my question. You know. So, like, I mean, that's not the book I would read for South Africa anyway. Like, but I just, you know, what is going to define a South African book, or any country, I guess? That's my question. I mean, I know it's my project, so obviously the rules are totally arbitrary towards me. You know, like I define it however I want to define it. But, you know, like if Tolkien has one South African parent and one British parent, and that's why he's South African, like he's a citizen of South Africa because of that, but he lived his whole life in Britain, wrote the book in Britain, the book was published by a British publisher, like, isn't that a British book? I don't know. That's why I'm asking you guys. Yeah, I've read, is it Cry the Beloved Country, or what is that the one about apartheid? I know I read The Power of One. And we did read Cry the Beloved Country. I don't remember what any one particular book was about, because it was so long ago. Maybe we should just reread all the school books as adults and see why the adults wanted us to read them. But yeah, so, you know, if Cry the Beloved Country is a South African book, then I've read a South African book, but, you know, that's part of, like, why I want to do it, is I want to read them as an adult who can absorb information better than a kid who like was reading it under duress. Oh yeah, Cry of the Beloved Country is the South African one. It's about, yeah, see, it obviously made a huge impression on my brain. Clearly it impressed itself upon me. And I never forgot it. All right, so what do we got now? We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, we're over halfway there. I'll put these tiny scraps in my tiny scrap bag. But I'm going to look up Tolkien. Find out what's the deal. Well, he was born in South Africa. So there you go. All right, so now this is basically a square, so I can turn it whichever direction I want to turn it, which at this point I think is basically a lost cause. So I'm not going to worry about it. All right. Hopefully we can get the remaining 6 scraps out of this scrap. I don't think we can. So we'll just see how many we can get. It would be so annoying if I had to like print another sheet of this for like 1 or 2 pieces. I mean, it's not like it would be the end of the world because then we would have more yellow to use. So I guess it wouldn't be so annoying, but it would be pretty annoying. I'm not gonna lie. I would be pretty annoyed. All right, so we need 6 more. So that's 1. And that's crooked, but that's okay. I'll just use the crooked end, you know, I'll hide it under the photo mats. All right. Then I'll do another 2 tapes. And what I do is I line up the edge of my sheet with the line on my desk, and then I put the 1 1/4 inch line on my desk, which is going to be especially important with this crooked one, where what I'm going to do is line it up at the bottom and then line it up on this line and just put that corner so that I know this top edge is straight. All right, so it's 11, 12, 13, that one's crooked too. I have two crooked ones. In fact, the crooked ones, I'm going to chomp the not crooked ends on the crooked ones so I don't lose track of which side is crooked. Okay. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, or 14. All right, so this will have 15. We can get 16 out of that. We just made it. We just barely made it. All right, so has anyone seen Squid Game? Because I haven't, but I have seen so many articles coming up on my feed about Squid Game. All right. So now I'm going to cut. All right, so that's 4 1/4 now. I'm going to take this little square that's left and put it in the tiny scrap bag. Okay, Bev started to watch Squid Game but hasn't finished it. Is it worth finishing? Are you gonna finish it? You're not sure. Oh. So you don't know yet. Interesting. Interesting. All right, so this is the last one. Phew, we made it. Whew. Okay. All right, so everybody double taped. Let's just double check to make sure everybody's double taped, because I don't want to get to the mass production part and find out everybody's not double taped. All right. Okay, so now we're just going to take the... Is it a movie or a TV show? I guess I don't even know the most basic things about Squid Game. But headlines I've seen were that they used a real phone number in it. So some guy has been getting thousands of phone calls and messages a day, which really puts... It's funny because, you know, in the U.S. you're so used to the fake 5x5 number that you're like, I don't even think of I wouldn't even consider calling a number I heard on a TV show because they've been fake for so long. But apparently there's no, like, I guess there's no quick and easy 555 version there, or they forgot to use it or what. But whoever that is, poor guy. Gretchen says, I don't understand why people will call a number from a TV show fake or not. Well, let me think. It's a series. If I saw a real number in a TV show, I might be curious if it was like a viral marketing thing. Kind of like how in How I Met Your Mother, all of Barney's websites are real. Like they made a website for every one of his like fake websites. Well, they're not fake, they're real, I guess, but you know what I mean. But so maybe I could see, you know, if a show did something like that where they had phone numbers that were to different things, maybe, but I don't know. I mean, I guess I probably wouldn't even notice it. You're so used to just ignoring all phone numbers given in TV and movies, or at least I am. I did watch a video about a TV show that was on the BBC in the 90s, question mark, called Ghost Watch, which had kind of like a War of the Worlds thing happen with it, where it was a fake documentary that was made before there was such a thing as fake documentaries, so people thought it was real. And one of the things they were talking about is it was presented as a live, like, call-in show where you could call into a telephone bank. It was like monitors standing by or whatever, and it was about whether or not these people's house was actually haunted. And one thing they were doing is they were putting things in it that would make it look like the house was actually haunted, and then they were having fake phone calls. So it would be like they'd come back from a break and it would say, you know, we got a lot of phone calls over the last break that they could see a figure in the room with the daughter. After the daughter was being put to bed, they saw it on the camera. And then they'd be like, okay, well, do we have that footage? And they would show it, and then there would clearly be like a shadowy figure in the room. And it was sort of like with the War of the Worlds, I guess, where at the beginning of it, they said it was fake. You know, there were credits that clearly indicated that everyone was acting. And then the number that they gave in the TV show for you to call in about the show, if was supposed to play a message that was like, just in case you don't know, this is totally fake. You know, if you want to share a ghost story with us, go ahead. But what happened is so many people called that they crashed the BBC switchboard, so that message didn't play. People just got a busy signal. So it became a huge like scandal. People were like petrified that they were seeing people get like killed by ghosts live on television or something like that. It was like, I was reading about it because, you know, it was before the Blair Witch Project. It was before found footage documentaries. It was on the BBC One channel, I think, which I guess like the way they said it in the documentary that I was watching about this fake documentary was like that just by the fact that it was on that channel was obviously fiction. So it's like, I guess not a news channel or something. I don't know. So it was on a channel on the BBC that only shows fiction or something like that, or scripted, whatever. But the problem is that they got like a famous newsreader to be the host of it. So because they wanted it to have like a flair of authenticity. So, and like, you know, his wife, who was also a journalist, you know, she was the one in the house. So like it's, you know, it was confusing in that way, I guess. And I'm just like, can you imagine if you were watching something that you thought was real? And you remember, there's like no reason to think it's not real, because the only thing up to that point would have been the War of the Worlds that was like it. So there had never been anything on television like it before, as far as I know. Where, yeah, you just thought it was real, and you thought you were watching people like live on television. Yeah, I think that was the thing, is that if you came in 5 minutes late, there would be nothing about it that would indicate it was fake. So like if you watched from the beginning, you got the warning, and then like I said, just in case you didn't get the warning, the phone was supposed to pick up with a message that it was fake, and you could share if a paranormal story with them. But that didn't happen because like they were getting 30,000 calls a minute or something crazy, because it was wildly popular, and it just crashed the BBC switchboard, so you didn't get that message. I thought the whole thing was interesting. It's called Ghost Watch. Like, I'm sure by today's standards of like horror and what we've all seen at this point, like it would be pretty tame. But like, again, I just can't imagine turning on the television to the news essentially and like thinking I was watching people be like live haunted on the news. You know. And they were being told it was in real time. So they were being told that the journalists were showing what was happening with the family live so that people would know it wasn't edited. So like the way it was presented was like it was a live news broadcast. But I just thought that was really interesting. And what a creative idea. But apparently a whole generation of kids were like traumatized. So. Okay. All right, so now we've got these tabbed and ready to go. So the only thing left to do is to cut apart these, and then we'll have everything we need to do our assembly. Man, I like having lots of tags because it gives you tons of places for your family photos, and you can also show off your paper, but I need someone to just make tags for me. I need a tag fairy. I need a tag fairy. You'll come up and be my tag fairy. Thank you. It's too bad I don't have two craft spaces in this office like I did in my last office. But this one is smaller than my last one, so. And it has fewer walls, so I can't really put stuff on the walls. All right, so. Yeah, so Ghost Watch, I think it was called. But anyway, that was really interesting. So I watched that last night, and I was just like trying to put myself in the shoes of the poor people who were watching it. Okay. All right, so now we just stick these down, and I know I only have room. Well, I have two chairs. I could put you in a corner with a folding table, I guess. Because I do have two chairs. The cats would probably attack your face. Or maybe they just wouldn't come up here. Yesterday, I think we made some progress on cat love because Kitty caught a lizard. And one thing Kitty will do when she catches a lizard is she'll walk around the house with it in her mouth crying until a crowd gathers around her to admire her lizard hunting skills, I guess. And sometimes if a person shows up and says, "Good job, Kitty," and gives her a pat on the head, she'll stop. But sometimes she won't stop. And that's when we've decided she wants the other cats to admire her lizard hunting skills. And so yesterday she was doing that where, you know, she brought the lizard in and Damien was in the kitchen and I was in the living room and we both were like, "Oh, good job, Kitty. You're so good at catching lizards." You know, pat, pat, pat. But she wouldn't stop crying. So I was like, okay, she needs another cat to admire it. So then I lured Stormy over with a hair tie because those are his favorite toys. And then he admired her lizard. And now normally what'll happen is if another cat gets too close to the lizard, Kitty will hiss at them. And she did do that to Stormy, but then I told her no. And then she let Stormy sit near the lizard with her, and wouldn't murder him. Didn't try to murder Stormy. So I guess they're friends now, question mark. Maybe. Or maybe it was just because we were watching. All I know is that when Stormy killed a snake, he didn't make a big deal out of it. He just left the snake half eaten in the middle of the floor. So yeah, here you go. I'm done. Finish it off. I left you guys a snack over by the door to the garage. You're welcome. Alright, Kitty was mad, just in case you were hungry, because she got her Advantage flea medicine. She doesn't like her flea medicine. But yeah, they got fleas. I don't know. I mean, I assume they got them from the backyard, but they never got fleas at the last house. But they did get fleas here. So now they're on flea medication. And Kitty hates it. She acts like she's being murdered every time she gets it. Like, God forbid she ever gets any kind of chronic illness where she has to take like regular medication because it takes her 24 hours to calm down and stop trying to kill everyone from being given flea medicine. It goes on the back of her neck. So like you put it on the back of their necks because they can't reach the back of their necks. And then it has to sit on their skin for like 24 hours and absorb or in. So you can't pet the back of their neck for 24 hours. And because I guess it's like if they ate it, it would be bad for them. Question mark. So I think she hates the way it smells because whenever it gets put on her, she blinks a lot. She like really hard blinks, like like it's really, like it's bothering her eyes. So I think that's what, like, I understand why she's mad, because I mean, from her point of view, you know, once a month or whatever, we like spray something on her neck that hurts her eyes, you know. So well, and she does like her scritches. She does. So she doesn't like it if you can't scratch the back of her neck. Like, that bothers her. Because, yeah, so for 24 hours you can't even pet her and say you're sorry. You know. Well, you can pet her, but not on the back. Why not use the 8th month collar? We haven't tried the collar. I wonder if they would take off their collars, because they don't, because when they're on their harnesses, they wiggle out of their harnesses that go with their leashes, because they hate them. So what I would say is we should get one collar and try it on one cat and see what happens. Oh, some of the collars leave blisters on some cats. Well, I wonder if it already is making her eyes hurt, if the collar would bother her. Yeah. We also got a spray to spray around the house that kills fleas. But let's just say our implementation of that hasn't been the most consistent. Oh, happy Thursday to you, Candy. Happy Thursday to you. Wait a second. I don't need 8 of these. Oh no, I do need 8 of these. Never mind. I was like, I only need 4. Why did I make 8? I thought I was, I just thought all of a sudden I was done. I'm not done. I do need 8, 4 pages, 2 tags per page. 4 times 2. That's 8, Kathryn. That's 8. I got really excited there for a second, and I thought, man, I'm over-prepared. I don't need to keep making these. Just kidding. I'm not over-prepared. I'm glad you made it, Candy, even if you can't take a bag of flour home with you. Past Kathryn. She's she's irresponsible. Irresponsible. And then the most recent round of flea medicine, Tiny Cat didn't get any because she needs a different one because she's so small. And so the ordering is different because, like, the other 2 cats, they each get 1 out of a box. There's like 4 in a box, so that's 2 months. But then the other box, only Tiny Cat uses. So it takes, you know, 4 times as long for her to go through it or something math like. And so, or twice as long, I don't know. And so what happens is theirs runs out and then gets reordered. And then like Tiny Cat's runs out. Or maybe there's 3 in her box and 4 in their box. That's probably what it is. Because otherwise they'd run out at the same time. And they don't run out at the same time. So the box sizes must be different. So now Tiny Cat, she didn't get sprayed. So she's just running around footloose and fancy free while the other two cats are slinking around miserable. Oh, whose idea was it to put all these tags in this book? It was past Kathryn's idea. It was past Kathryn's idea. Yeah, she was getting all the scritches. Thank you, Linda. I'll look that up. Edible diatomaceous earth is great for fleas and not harmful to the cats if licked. Maybe we can put it around their enclosure because that's where I think the fleas are getting them. There's a lot more cat and animal activity in this neighborhood than there was in the last neighborhood. Plus now they have a pool and they didn't have a pool before. So I have no idea, you know, if it's the pool that attracts the fleas or if it's just because there's other animals coming up to their enclosure all the time and the fleas are jumping off of them or what. What is the deal? Don't know. The new next door neighbors have an indoor-outdoor cat that looks just like the dude. And so it comes around and I saw it on our doorbell camera and I thought Stormy got out and I was running around the neighborhood at night one night looking for Stormy. Then I came back in the house and he was just sitting there like, what? Why are you calling my name all over the neighborhood? I've been here the whole time. The cats were probably like watching me and go around the neighborhood like, what is she doing, do you think? They were probably all lined up in their enclosure watching me on the sidewalk like, she's gone crazy. She's lost her mind. Last one. Woo! We made it. We made it. So now we just have to figure out what kind of page we want to do next. We want to do a page B or a page C. Oh, no, I just decided I'll do page B, I think. Okay. I'll explain why I think I want to do a page B when I put these in the book, which is happening now. So I'm just gonna, I'll put them in the book and then we'll take a break and do the construction of the next 4 pages. All right, so let's get the book. Okay, so we'll put them in the pockets. See, this one I didn't tape, and see how this is getting stuck? What it's getting stuck on is the lip of cardstock. So that's why the tape, you know, I can get over it, but it just makes it a little bit easier to not have that there. That's the one I forgot. Remember on one of them I forgot to do the tape? That's what happens. Oh, maybe I forgot on 2 of them. Okay, now one thing that can help if you get to this point is to rub some wax paper on it, on the tag. Okay, perfect. So now here's what I think I want to do. I want to do page B, and we'll do page B here. And I think what we'll do, this is page B, by the way. I think what we'll do is we'll do a square in the center with, you know, some of these. And then on the flap, we'll do quilts. So we'll do just plain diagonal quilts. And we'll have them going this way on this side and this way on that side so they make a V. And then we'll have them going this way and this way and this way so that they make a V, so that they mimic the front cover. See? So we'll follow that pattern. And that's what we'll do. So I'm going to do a recording break here. The next video will be the construction of 5 page Bs. So we'll make the page base for 5, not 5. We'll make 4. We'll make the page B, 4 page Bs. And then what we'll do is, you know, we'll make all the pieces and parts for them. And then we'll pick our pattern paper to go on top. So if you're watching live, just hang tight. Nothing's going to change for you. For those of you who are watching in the recording or watching in the archives or in the Album Basics Guide, thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now. Greetings, Glitter Gang, and happy Wednesday. It's 3:20 on Thursday, October 7th. We just finished all of the 4 page A tags for this page A that we just put in the book. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to make 4 page bases for page Bs. Normally with a page B base, we make like a really long piece that has the flap on it. I'm wondering if I could just shorten that and use some of my scraps. I just have to calculate, because it needs to be, what is the difference? 1.5 inches? Is that what it is? that the actual full page needs to be 1.5 inches. Oh, I guess I could. Yeah, that looks, well, these are 1 inch. So yeah, it's like 1.5 inches. It's 1.5 inches. That feels right. So I need it to come up 1.5 inches. I need it to have whatever the measurement of the flap is, and I need it to have a little overlap so it can overlap this piece that's right here. So let me try and figure out what that would be. Okay, so 2.5. I think I can get away with 3 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark where 1/2 inch is on these and just give myself 1/2 inch of overlap. I'll use a black pen. All right, and then that way, is that crooked? No, it just looks crooked. Okay, cool. Yes, they'll make an X overall, just like the front cover. Exactly. All right, so our first step, since this is a like construction that we wouldn't normally do, would be we're going to cut those 3-inch pieces, we're going to score them, and then we're going to attach them to this. And the way I'm going to attach them is I'm going to run a line of 1/4 inch tape along the edge of this piece and a line of 1/4 inch tape along the edge of the flap. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'll just put the tape on these now. Well, I'll do all the taping at once. Let me set this aside so I have room to work. Because I really, really, really want to use some scraps, if at all possible. Because I am going to run. I don't think I'm going to run out, but I'm getting low enough on my blue that I'm a little concerned. So all I'm looking for here from my scraps is pieces that are at least 3 inches wide. They can be more. They have to be at least 3. So this is 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1. This size I have a lot of. 2. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. See how many of these I have? I have a lot of this particular size. Maybe I'll do something with them later. If I can. Think of something. Maybe I'll try and make this out of all scraps. Let's see. All right, so these pieces I think are all 3.5 inches. Yeah, they're all 3.5 inches. So we'll just do them as 3.5 inches. I don't know why I put this sideways like that. That was weird. Oh, I need to cut them. So the width will be the same. So I'm going to cut them to 3.5 by 6.5. They're not all exactly 3.5, but that's okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to score them at 2.5. And that way the flap will be the same size on all of them, regardless of what size this is. Except it's not 2.5. Okay, wait a second. Now I don't know if I did my math correctly. Where is the stupid book? All right, come here, book. Ugh. Yeah, it's 2. Plus 1.5 is 3.5. These are not long enough. Okay. Or they're not wide enough. So it's 2 plus 1.5 is 3.5. Plus we need at least 1/2 inch for them to get attached. They have to be at least 4 inches across. Okay, that's 4.5. That's 4.5. That's 4.5. That's 4.5. These are just tags sized, but whatever, it's fine. All right. All right. So we are still using scraps, but okay. So what did I say? They have to be 4.5. Is that what I said? No, they have to be 2 plus. They have to be 2 plus 1.5 is 3.5. Plus at least 1/2 inch is 4, but they're all plus. They're all 4.5. Okay. All right. Regardless, they still get scored at 2. So there were 2. All right. I'm off to a great start. All right. So these are 4.5 by 6.5. And of course, the measurements for how to do this, the way I designed it, like if you have plenty of cardstock, are all in the Album Basics guide. All right, so from this edge, I'm going to mark 1.5 inches. And that way I know where to put my tape and all of that. And then we'll just stick okay, then we'll just stick the other pieces to these, and the marks I made on the other pieces don't matter. It's fine. It's fine. It's all fine. So 4.5 scored at 2. And then marked on the back at 1.5. 1.5 from the score line. So the 2-inch flap is folded under, and now I'm marking the back. This is why I should always use my fraction calculator instead of trying to do stuff in my head. Because we all know that way does not give us great results. Although you would think I should be able to add 2 plus 1.5 plus 1/2 and not end up with something Looney Tunes. But you would be wrong. You would be wrong. Okay. So while these are still little tiny pieces like this, is when we're going to modify them. So I think what I'm going to do is let's put them over here so we can add the string and everything while they're all nice and small. All right, so these flaps are 2 by 6.5. So I need for my pattern paper a piece of scrap that is less than that. So I've got to cut 1 3/4 inch strips. By 6 1/4 inch strips. And I need 4 of those. All right. So these 3, they get all right. So I need to think about how I need to fold them. On this one, I need to fold to be the upper right. I need to fold this corner to that. Okay. So there we go. Gonna fold that. All right. Okay. And then so that it's easier for me to see that, I'm gonna trace that line with a pen. Oh my gosh, why does my ruler keep moving this piece of paper? What's it getting stuck on? So I trace this with a pen to make it easier for me to just see it once I am at the stage where I'm going to be putting my paper on it. All right, so that one's like that. So this one, the corner's got to come up like that. So it's the opposite. Okay. All right, and now with this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put the line I just folded, line it up with one of the lines on my mat, and then I'm going to trace it with a pen. All right, so now it's coming to, so now you can see I have a V. So now I just want to reverse that for the other side. So I need this to come down. And then same deal, trace it. And then for this one, this corner comes over. trace it. And there we go. All right. So now all I have to do is I'm just going to cover them with tape. Okay. And I'm going to just do them one at a time. But I trim the tape. All right, now all we have to do is peel this tape backing off. All right, and I'm going to get out this paper trimmer in case I need to cut anything. And then all we need now is our little scrap bag. And I'm just gonna ink the edges of the strips. And start laying them down. And in terms of size, I'm not hugely worried about piece size. You know, if I have some thinner strips, that's okay. It's like if I want to put one of those smaller bits from earlier on here, I can. Go ahead and, oops, gotta put the flowers here. All right. Okay, gonna now this piece has tape on the back, so I'm going to have to peel it off. Some of my scraps will have little tape pieces on the back. It happens. depending on like what they came off of. And let's take little triangles. All right, and then once we're at this point, we just are going to trim the edges. And some of these pieces we'll be able to keep for other ones that we're going to do. These two that are already taped, I'm just going to stick to my tape roll. The rest of them I can just sort of sweep to the side. If they're big enough. If they're tiny little bits, then I won't worry about it. This little piece tore a little bit, so I'm just going to try and trim the edge. Okay, and now we have our first little quilt. So we're going to go around all the edges to frame it up. Okay. And already we can see how it's going to kind of start to look. I think we have time to get one more done. Okay. So I'm going to set aside the all right. Okay. So this, start here. Just gonna cut a piece of tape off because this is now holding some stuff. Hopefully the piece of tape I cut off will be big enough. Looks like it will. Okay. And alrighty. Okay, wow, everything's just shredding which means it's time to change my knife blade. But I only have 15 minutes left in the show, so I'm not gonna. Just gonna cut everything twice. But as soon as your knife doesn't cut through things cleanly with one on your first pass, that's when you need to just say, okay, time to make a change. Time to make a change. I'm going to cut a 1/2 inch piece of this. You mean you're not supposed to just struggle and struggle to cut over and over again? No. No. As soon as it doesn't just go right through, that's when it's time to change. That's why I always say you need to change your knives more than you think you need to change your knives. And that goes for me too. Like, obviously I need to change my knife. Am I changing my knife? No. So, you know. Okay. So we've got that corner done. All right, so now I want to do a strip of this, but not that thick. So I'm going to do 3/4 of an inch. And then my hearts from the other side, I can go ahead and stick them down. Ah! Darn it. How about you just come up nicely, huh? You wanna just do that? No, you're stuck down. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Got a solution to that. Okay. So my solution to that is I just need like a little piece that goes straight across. I just need to make a corner. All right. All right, so now that I've made my corner, I can come in with this piece. And then I'm just gonna use a little bit of the yellow floral on the corner. So Gretchen just said, Opal and Nev came in from the library, should I bother? I would say I would only read it if, when you got to the end of J.Z. Jones, you were like, you know what? I'd really like to read a book about musicians in the 70s and all their struggles and, you know, about the time period and what was happening with civil rights or whatever. But this just wasn't it. So I want a mix of like rock and roll and social commentary and kind of just like a snapshot of time through the lens of people in music. But it wasn't this one. This one didn't just work for me. Then I would say go ahead with Opal and Nev. If nothing about Daisy Jones worked for you and you were like, that was a waste of time, then I wouldn't read Opal and Nev. But I will say I found the format of Opal and Nev far less irritating. So, and the cultural commentary was better, or the social commentary was better. But, you know, it's still a thing about rock and roll musicians, right? So, and it's still told in the format of a nonfiction person related to one of the band members writing an editorial about it. Just this time it's for a magazine and not a book or whatever. So did that clear it up for you? Probably not. I thought Opal and Nev was better, but if you just like really hated Daisy Jones, then I don't think Opal and Nev is gonna be an improvement. All right, so there we've got our V done. Okay, so that's where I'll pause. So when we come back tonight, I'm just gonna leave all these scraps on my desk. Hopefully the cats don't do anything to them. All right. Okay. So here's what we'll do. So we've got 2 down. They're looking cute over there already. When I come back tonight, I'm going to put these scraps away because if I don't, I'm going to come back to them all chewed up by Tiny Cat, aren't I? That is what's going to happen. I don't know why I was like, I'll leave them out and hopefully the cats won't do anything to them. Kathryn. Why play with fire like that? Why play with fire? All right, so now what we're going to do is put this in its bag. All right, so we've got the two of the flaps done. Here's the other 2 that will become the other flaps. When we come back tonight, we'll start with those. And then we'll build out the rest of the pages from there. And what I'm going to just do really quickly here is I'm going to take these pieces of cardstock and tape them together. Okay, Candy, have fun on your trip. Enjoy it. I hope your cropping is going great. And I'm just gonna make a long piece of cardstock out of this that I can cut some of my pockets out of. Ugh. So I'll just finish doing that so I have some bigger pieces to work with tonight, and I will see you at 9 p.m. Eastern USA time. So I'll be back tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern USA time, which is 5 hours from now. So I hope to see you all then. We're going to continue decorating these page flaps with our quilts. These are page B's, and then we'll decorate the fronts of them somehow. That'll be fun. And I'll see you in the next video. You're making a squawk-a-gon without undo. That is nerve-wracking. That's very nerve-wracking. Best of luck to you with that. All right, everyone. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.